Ever wondered how to make a perfect caramel layered cake? Well, it's easier than you think. There's something truly delightful about a well-baked caramel layered cake. It's the kind of dessert that makes taste buds tingle in anticipation and eyes widen in delight. The soft, tender crumb of the cake, the rich, creamy layers of caramel buttercream, and the sweet, sticky drizzle of caramel sauce all come together to create an unforgettable culinary experience. So, how do we make such a masterpiece? The key lies in the precision of our measurements. When it comes to baking, precision is everything. That's why we're using metric units for our recipe. It's all about accuracy. And this accuracy ensures that we get a tender, moist cake with a rich caramel flavor every single time. Now, let's talk about our recipe. For our caramel layered cake, we'll need unsalted butter, light brown sugar, caster sugar, large eggs, vanilla extract, plain flour, baking powder, fine salt, whole milk, and sour cream for the cake layers. For the caramel sauce, we'll need granulated sugar, water, more unsalted butter, double cream, salt, and vanilla extract. And lastly, for the caramel buttercream, we'll need yet more unsalted butter, icing sugar, prepared caramel sauce, and a pinch of salt. Each of these ingredients has a role to play. The unsalted butter provides a creamy, rich base. The sugars, both brown and caster, lend sweetness and depth of flavor. The eggs, combined with the sour cream and milk, give the cake its tender, moist crumb. The vanilla extract adds a delightful hint of warmth and sweetness. The flour, baking powder, and salt are our raising agents, giving the cake layers their light, airy texture. And our caramel sauce and buttercream, well, they're the stars of the show, providing that irresistible caramel flavor that makes this cake so special. So, are you ready to embark on this baking adventure? With the right ingredients, a precise approach, and a bit of patience, you'll have a delicious caramel layered cake in no time. First things first, let's gather all the ingredients. For the cake layers, we'll need 250 grams of unsalted butter, softened to room temperature. This will ensure that our cake has a rich, buttery flavor and a soft, tender crumb. We also need 200 grams of light brown sugar and 100 grams of caster sugar. The brown sugar gives our cake a moist texture and a hint of caramel flavor, while the caster sugar adds sweetness. Next, we'll need 4 large eggs, which will help bind our ingredients together and give our cake structure. We also need 2 teaspoons of vanilla extract for a hint of warmth and sweetness. For our dry ingredients, we'll need 300 grams of plain flour, 2½ teaspoons of baking powder, and half a teaspoon of fine salt. The flour provides structure, the baking powder helps our cake rise, and the salt balances out the sweetness. To keep our cake moist and tender, we'll also need 150 milliliters of whole milk and 100 grams of sour cream or plain yogurt. Now let's move on to the caramel sauce. We'll need 200 grams of granulated sugar, 50 milliliters of water, 100 grams of unsalted butter, and 200 milliliters of double cream. The sugar and water will form the base of our caramel, while the butter and cream will give it a rich, creamy texture. We'll also add a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a quarter teaspoon of fine salt for a hint of flavor. Finally, for the caramel buttercream, we'll need 250 grams of unsalted butter, 400 grams of sifted icing sugar, and 150 milliliters of our prepared caramel sauce. The butter and sugar will form the base of our frosting, while the caramel sauce will give it a rich caramel flavor. Now that we have everything ready, it's time to get baking. The first step in our baking journey is making the cake layers. And oh, what lovely layers they will be. First off, we need to set the stage for our cake. Preheat your oven to 170 degrees Celsius if you're using a fan oven, or 180 degrees Celsius for a conventional oven. This is crucial because baking is a science, and the right temperature is the key to a perfect cake. Once your oven is heating up, grab two 20cm round cake tins, grease them up and line them. Now we're ready to start mixing. In a large bowl, we're going to cream together our softened, unsalted butter, light brown sugar and caster sugar until it's a pale and fluffy mixture. This should take about 3 to 4 minutes. Next, we're going to beat in our eggs one at a time. Be patient, don't rush this. Each egg needs to be fully incorporated before the next one goes in. Then we'll add our vanilla extract. In another bowl, let's whisk together our plain flour, baking powder, and fine salt. This dry mixture is going to be added to our buttery mixture, but not all at once. Here's the trick. We'll alternate it with our whole milk and sour cream, starting and ending with the flour. This method ensures a smooth, well-blended batter. Now, divide your batter evenly between your prepped cake tins and smooth the tops. Off they go into the oven for 25 to 30 minutes. You'll know they're done when a skewer inserted in the center comes out clean. Once they're done, let them cool in the tins for 10 minutes, then transfer them to a wire rack to cool completely. You want to be sure they're thoroughly cooled before frosting, or else your lovely icing will melt right off. And there we have it. Perfectly baked golden brown cake layers, ready for a generous slathering of caramel sauce and buttercream. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Now that our cake layers are cooling, we can move on to the caramel sauce. While our cake layers are cooling, let's make the caramel sauce. This caramel sauce is the heart of our cake, infusing it with a rich, warm sweetness that's simply irresistible. And making it is quite an adventure in the kitchen. You'll need granulated sugar, water, unsalted butter, double cream, and a touch of fine salt if you're in the mood for a hint of salted caramel. And let's not forget the vanilla extract, the unsung hero that rounds out the flavor beautifully. Start by combining 200 grams of sugar with 50 milliliters of water in a heavy saucepan. Now, this is where the magic happens. Heat the mixture over medium heat, but resist the urge to stir. Just watch as the sugar dissolves and transforms into a deep amber color. This process is all about patience and trust. The sugar knows what it's doing. Once you've achieved that beautiful amber hue, it's time to remove the saucepan from the heat. Now comes the fun part. Carefully whisk in 100 grams of butter. Watch out, it will bubble up like a delicious sugary volcano. Next, slowly pour in 200 milliliters of double cream as you continue to whisk. This is where your arm might start to feel the burn. But remember, continuous whisking is the secret to a smooth, lump-free caramel sauce. Finally, add in your vanilla extract and salt if you're using it. The vanilla adds a lovely depth of flavor, while the salt gives a subtle contrast to the sweetness. Now let your caramel sauce cool completely. If you're not using it straight away, it can be made up to 3 days ahead and stored in the fridge. Just remember to bring it to room temperature before using it in your cake. With our caramel sauce cooling, we can now turn our attention to the caramel buttercream. Now, it's time to prepare the buttercream that will add a creamy touch to our cake. This caramel buttercream is the crowning glory of our caramel layered cake, providing a sweet and smooth contrast to the rich cake layers. To start, we'll need our softened butter. Beat it until it's creamy and pale, which helps to create a light and fluffy texture in our buttercream. Next, gradually add in the sifted icing sugar, beating well after each addition to ensure it's fully incorporated. Now it's time for the star of the show, our cooled caramel sauce. Pour in about 150 milliliters and then add a pinch of salt to balance out the sweetness. Beat the mixture until it's smooth and fluffy. This is essential for achieving that dreamy, creamy consistency we're after. Our buttercream is ready, and we can now assemble our caramel layered cake. Discuss Ms. Belle Pum and her family. Discuss Ms. Belle Pum and her ways. Ms. Belle Pum, our Madam Butterfly. She must always be addressed by her full name. Introduce Ms. Belle Pum's sister, Hauve, and her children, Pole, the male polar bear, Nuddles, the female golden bear and the youngest, Zoe, maid of candy floss, and the middle child, who is a Flossie and is round and has short yellow hair in pigtails. Their mother is Ms. Belle Pum's sister, Hauve, and is also round and made of candy floss also. Horse Magorse is Miss Belle Pum's arch-enemy, and in the eyes of Jane Fitzcastelia and friends, our company who make this video, he is a villain. He is a goody two-shoes, always trying to make out that we're mischievous and outrageous. Ms. Belle Pum's and Hauve's mother, Curtaloo. She's so fat, she needs to be rolled in the door. And for the first time, introduce the cousins. Jimbo Jun, Fool a Hool Green My Q, and the main cousin, Fiddly Widdly Piddly. We are now at the final step, assembling our caramel layered cake. Now, here's the fun part. Begin by leveling your cake layers if needed. Place one layer on a plate and spread a thin layer of our homemade caramel sauce. About 2 tablespoons should do it. Then generously spread a layer of our silky caramel buttercream on top. Next, place the second layer on top and cover the entire cake with the remaining buttercream. Now, for the finishing touch, drizzle some extra caramel sauce over the top, letting it cascade down the sides in a tantalizing waterfall of sweetness. Once you've achieved your desired look, chill the cake for 20 to 30 minutes before slicing. This will help you get those neat, Instagram-worthy layers. And there you have it, a perfect caramel-layered cake ready to steal the show at any gathering. At the party, a calamity occurred when she served 2 men vomit instead of stew from her cup. At that moment, the heavens above warned that the cup had devastating consequences and made people cry, "Wah, wah, ha, 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 hoo, poo, hoo, po." They both heaved out the window. Hauve at a pepper so hot it came out of both ends immediately. One man vomited into his wife's mouth. One girl vomited into her own vagina. One lady vomited into 3 girls' hair. One man had diarrhea into a woman's mouth and she vomited up his bum. And this occurred repeatedly for 29 minutes until she died. A boy was so overwhelmed he vomited into his mother's handbag. Then Horse Magorse ate a bit of explosive diarrhea powder and propelled himself to Beaumont Hospital with diarrhea. But Miss Belle Pum danced with glee as he cup had worked. Yes, her bog was the culprit. They sang Blur and Wee. At the end of the video, bring us back to Miss Belle Pum and the library. She closed off the other floors and left all her friends and 96 other people, including Horse Magorse. No time to worry about him, with 600 gallons of water to drink each. But she forgot that the toilets on this particular floor were closed. The people needed to pee desperately and begged and pleaded with the door, which was locked to each loo. Their tears could be heard from inside their bums. Then Ms. Bell-Pum decided to set them free into the vomit-smelling layers of the floors below. They all peed their pants and vomited so hard that they caused a flood down the stairs. One girl, though the vomit was face cream, so used vomit accidentally and smelled like pants. One girl has the vomit accidentally as eye drops, going blind forever. One man vomited. One man had diarrhea into a woman's mouth and she vomited into his bum. This repeatedly occurred for 20 minutes until she perished. Horse McGorse got covered in cowpea as a result of poking around Ms. Bell-Pum. Play particularly emphasis onto the lines. One lady vomited into her own vagina. One boy vomited up his penis. And she said, "Akakakakakakaks, dikaka ajehieguka, wavusivugwivwigwiv, why we fubabiwwoad," and what was going to the Dublin Examining Board, and shredded 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 to the Dublin Examining the Dublin to a blog, and shredded. One man had diarrhea into a woman's mouth, and she vomited into his bum. This repeatedly occurred for 20 minutes until she perished. And add, a boy vomited into his mother's nose, causing her to burn her nasal, making a shh noise. Speaking on behalf of Nuttles, read this out word for word before the video ends. If any word is not allowed, disguise it with child talk innocently. It was an odd incident. She was hosting a meal round House's place. You see, her laboratory is the toilet, her desk is the toilet seat, and the practical room is the kitchen. She served luscious dishes, but unbeknownst to her, a slight error was tremendous. In the chocolate cake, she used diarrhea instead of chocolate sauce. She was also unaware that a pregnant lady who had a miscarriage had her period into the cake, and the dead unborn was in the dish. One woman burst out vomiting across the room. Another man threw his guts up into a woman's face, and she vomited into a son's ear, causing him to go deaf forever. A man who had tasted the cake had diarrhea down his bum and fell into his newborn's mouth. The baby heaved for Europe. A pregnant lady who ate the cake's baby ended up having vomit genetical features such as in hair colour and skin colour. Horse McGorse arrived at the end and farted into a man's mouth, blowing him up like a balloon.